It's not every day that the European Super Smash Bros. Scene gets to see a major, let alone a super major. But the wonderful team over at Asobi partnered up with the community to bring Europe's largest major of all time, the S+ tier Tera. The over 1,300 player singles bracket hosted nearly every one of the continent's biggest threats alongside international ones like Spargo, Tweak, Light, and Zomba from North America to Yoshidora and Jogibu from Japan. So to say that this event was important was an understatement. For many European competitors, this would be their best shot of the year to try to make a splash in the top 100 rankings. The international invaders were looking for an S-tier tournament win to help maintain their ranking, and for one player in particular, this event would be the one that would forever impact their legacy among the European Smash community and truly cement his status as a legend.
Sneaking underneath that forward tilt though, Light on his last life right here. Oh my god, again! Unbelievable! Pluto with a huge 3-1. All of Paris is mobbing the stage right like it was grand final.
The European Smash scene was on the back burner to the general competitive player in North America due to lack of major events in Ultimate and depth of competition. It was almost unheard of to see any top US competitors take their talents overseas, and when they did, the European scene was nowhere near strong enough to defend themselves outside of one singular player. This player has transcended his own community and became an unstoppable force in the highest percentile of competition. Starting all the way back in 2009, a young Wario main from France that went by Glutiny began to make some noise in his local brawl scene. He came onto the scene as no one, just some kid looking to see how well he could do, and right away he was able to take down some of the strongest players in the country. After less than 2 years of competing, Glutiny had found himself at Europe's biggest brawl major of all time, Bushido Brawl Impact. The strongest players from Europe and even the number 2 player in the world had traveled out to the event. Glutiny, despite rarely competing at this point and with no experience against anyone outside of France, decimated the competition. He fell in winners finals but ran through the event in losers, double eliminating the best snake in the world and making a name as the biggest hidden boss in Brawl. For the remainder of the game's short lifespan, Glutiny continued to compete rather irregularly and was never quite able to make a top 100 ranking. But don't get it twisted, he was one of the strongest players in the world. He only ever made it outside of France one time at Skatar 2012, a major brawl event in the US where he was able to place an astonishing 17th. Upon the release of Smash 4, we saw Glutiny begin to compete a little bit more, saying that he often bet his only money that he had to take a train to a tournament just to break even. This type of commitment, coupled with his incredible skill, began to solidify himself among the top of the European scene once again. Now the best Wario main in 2 Smash titles, Glutiny rose up among the ranks of Europe, coming in second to only Mr. R. He made significantly more appearances in the USA, where he picked up top 16s at a few different events. With wins over top 50 players and even a few ranked within the top 20, Glutiny ended his Smash 4 career with the number 70 ranking on the PGR 100. And did I mention that this was with a character that was severely nerfed from the last title, seen as mid-tier at best? Yeah, Gluto's nuts. Near the end of Smash 4's lifespan, Gluto began to cool down on entering events, but with the release of Smash Ultimate right around the corner, Glutiny had a huge opportunity arise. He had finished up his time at university and was thus able to commit more time to focus on the game, and it happened to be in what was shaping up to be the biggest Smash title yet. While in other titles there were maybe a few competitors within Europe who outshined Glutiny, in Smash Ultimate there were a few players in the world who were as good as Glutiny. And for a third time in a row, Glutiny claimed the achievement of best Wario in the world. He began to dominate within Europe, not dropping a tournament for years, and overseas was just as strong. And although he had to overcome some hurdles at first, it wasn't long until Glutiny was a consistent top 8 threat at any event he had the chance to enter. His dominance within the country was unrivaled by any adversary, crowning him as the king of European Smash, a title he has yet to shy away from. Despite this title and his incredible consistency though, Glutiny had yet to take home a true super major in Europe. Sure, there was his win at King of Fields 95, number 3, that's a little confusing, but the 512 entrant event wasn't comparable to the size or talent of Tera. Hell, they didn't even upload the VODs on YouTube. Gluto's real shot was at Colossal 2022, Europe's biggest major ever at that point, where he came up short at 5th, outplaced by the UK's Bloom Forever in the title of the highest placing European. The announcement of Tera intrigued the community, and in turn we saw top players begin to flock out to France in hopes of claiming that title. Being the hometown hero and the best from his region, Glutiny would have to do whatever it took to defend his turf. The beginning phases of the event went about as expected for Glutiny, picking up wins over Sweeten's Bambi, the US's Shigura, and one of the Netherlands' top players, Zemol, to secure his spot in top 64 winner's side. His first opponent within top 64 was the best Pichu player in the world and previous top 100 player Netoru. Glutiny added to his undefeated record against the Pichu and moved on to his next round in bracket, which would end up being the hardest of his events so far, a competitor he's had an over decade-long rivalry against, Mr. R. Quite the opposite of Smash 4, Mr. R had only been able to take a single set off Glutiny in Ultimate. yet his sets with the Wario have always been close. With his level of veteran experience and just coming off a win against Cosmos, Mr. R was going to give Glutiny hell. An impressive advantage state, and more importantly, an impressive ledge coverage against the floaty Wario had paid off for Mr. R, and he ended up going up 2-0 against Glutiny. In Game 3, Glutiny made huge adjustments and opened up with an advantage. Mr. R, a fellow king of making impossible comebacks happen, ended up bringing the game to a kill confirm away from being finished. Glutiny didn't let his lead slip away though, and stayed alive for just a bit longer. In that game, and what we'll see in the games to follow, Glutiny's biggest adjustment was in his focus on survival. Sheik is a character with strong kill confirms and setups, but if you're able to dance around that, she can have an extremely hard time finding kills, especially against a character with aerial mobility as strong as Wario. In games 4 and 5, we saw a completely different Glutiny, completing a reverse 3-0 with a pair of 2 stocks against the Sheik and cementing his spot in winner's quarters. Glutiny was projected to face off next against the 4th-seeded Yoshidora, the best Yoshi player in the world, who controversially kept Glutiny out of the top 10 on the recent mid-year ranking. Well, like we mentioned before, Yoshidora didn't even make it to Glutiny. He was upset by fellow Frenchman Raflo. Raflo is Europe's best Palutena player and a top 3 player in France that's been able to conquer the Wario in the past, but in recent years Gluto has widened the gap. Raflo's recent 13th at SmashCon and upsets already at this event might have been telling of a very different result for this match. Raflo opened up with an immediate lead, but Gluto stood mentally unaffected. Turning the tables, he ended up taking the first stock of the game and finished it with a 2 stock. Raflo opened up with the lead in game 2, but figuring out the Palutena was like clockwork for Glutiny at this point. It takes him a second to open up Raflo, but once he does, you can visually see the confidence leave Raflo's play and Glutiny's flowchart becoming more and more effective. Glutiny finished up games 2 and 3 with a pair of 2 stocks, sending Raflo to his fight for top 8, placing through the loser's side.
On va prendre la moto, est-ce qu'on va réussir à lui rouler dessus? Le petit fer, le back air, on peut avoir un mini wafter. On va le back air et c'est fini, 3-0. Glutiny, top 8, winner side!
Glutiny's next matchup was against the first seed of the event and arguably the best player in the world in Spargo. Just a month prior at Delfino Mazza, Spargo took a very close 3-2 match over Gluto, and lifetime he has a winning 5-3 set record over the Wario. Things didn't look all that promising to start for Glutiny. Spargo was looking like the true menace of a player he is, slashing through Wario's stubby offensive with his amazing aerial accuracy. While it looked like Spargo's lead seemed unshakable, if there's a waft, there's a way, and in what honestly should be expected at this point, Gluto took advantage of the only opening he knew he would get, and he killed Spargo with a waft confirm. Game 2 was another back and forth between these players, with Spargo's consistently high tempo matched against Gluto's incredible evasiveness and creativity. These two were in a constant chase that resulted in Glutiny seemingly always trying to catch up. It was such a close game again, but this time Spargo was able to find that final hit and continued to hold the reins of the set over the Wario. The 2 following games were last stock efforts from Glutiny, but in the end he didn't have enough gas in the tank to take down Spargo, whipping a waft read on him and getting hit by Spargo's own version of waft, finishing touch. He was now going to have to make his way through the losers bracket.
There's waft, gets the forward that's in there, and burns the waft very irrationally, Gluto!
It does not matter. He has to keep his head in the game. He has to somehow get Spargo out there. What? What?
You're nasty. You're nasty.
Oh my god.
You're nasty. That's disgusting.
In losers quarters, Gluto would have to face off against the player that gave him arguably the most trouble this year, Europe's hidden titan and the player that eliminated him out of Colossal last year, Bloomfaeva. Blooms held a rather dominant 5-2 record over Glutiny since their first encounter last year, and this year he's managed to go up 2-1 in sets against him, only losing their last encounter at Italian Major Icarus 2023. Glutiny's also gone on record saying that Bloom was one of the hardest players in the world for him to figure out, but let me tell you, it didn't look like that at this tournament. Bloom's Achilles heel in this matchup came down to closing out stocks against Glutiny. Like I said before, Glutiny's defense is insane, and against other characters that tend to struggle to kill outside of setups, there were multiple instances where he survived over 200%. If it was a battle of the most damage dealt, Bloom without a doubt got the victory, but in a 3-stock environment with Wario's more consistent access to kill options, Glutiny was carried to a 3-0 victory against one of the world's best Bayonettas, and a trip in losers semis against another one of North America's top representatives, Light, was soon to follow. Glutiny's actually been somewhat of a bracket demon for Light this year. Eliminating the Fox at Battle of BC and Let's Make Big Moves, Glutiny has proved his proficiency against this character time and time again. With that understood, Light opened the set playing notably less aggressive against the Wario, which isn't typically what you expect from Fox. These adjustments paid off tremendously though, as Light ended up spacing around the Wario quite well and took the first game with a 2-stock. As soon as it seemed like things might be different for Light this time around, Gluto clapped back with an incredible showcase. Playing so patiently against Light, Glutiny closed out Game 2 with a waft read. Light heated up in the third game, but his fire was taken out by a janky semi-spike from Glutiny to kill Light at 20%. That down air symbolized Glutiny drilling the final nail into Light's coffin. As Game 4 opened, Gluto pieced together an awesome 0 to death against the Fox. Light's punish game kept him in it as he struck back with a huge opening on Gluto, but Gluto maneuvered around Light's kill attempts and racked up a considerable amount of percentage before losing his stock. They brought it to a last stock game, but in a scramble, Gluto stayed composed and hit another signature whop, catching the shield drop from Light and taking the set 3-1.
Oh! Sneaking underneath that forward tilt though, Light on his last life right here. Oh my god, again! Unbelievable! Gluto with a huge 3-1. All of Paris is mobbing the stage right like it was grand finals.
On the winner's side of things, Tweak made one of his greatest comebacks against Spargo in winners finals, closing it out with a beautiful banana combo to seal the set and secure his spot in grands.
Oh, is he gonna get it? He's not gonna miss it twice! Twig! Twig takes down the set!
This set up a rematch for Glutiny with Spargo, and the games could have honestly gone either way. But once the timer hit go, Gluto had something take over him. He demolished Spargo with the 3-stock, letting him know he was not here to play around. Spargo was mad, and if the past had shown us anything, it's that you don't want to be on the receiving end of an angry Spargo. Spargo fired back looking to get his own 3-stock, but had to settle with just a 2-stock. Game 3 was even better for Spargo, setting up his impenetrable wall of tilts and aerials to stunt any attempt of an approach from Glutiny, and Spargo took the game with a JV3. Gluto was down 2-1 at this point, and it looked like Spargo had it all figured out. Wario was just too stubby, too easy to lock down in the air, and it looked all but over. But defying the odds once again, Europe's best player zoned in and brought back a shade of Glutiny more similar to that of Game 1, getting up 3 stocks to 1 in an impressive showcase. Spargo, fueled by nothing but the determination to beat Glutiny and get his run back against Tweak, started to cook the Wario. In a game that seemed like it would be a 3-stock for Glutiny, turned into a missed 2-frame away from Spargo winning the game. After which Gluto found the landing blow and ultimately brought this set to a Game 5. Glutiny at this point had Spargo's offensive flowchart pretty down. We saw him dodge attempt after attempt from Spargo and close out his first stock with an edge guard. Visibly upset, the fiery hot Spargo was going to have to regain the lead on an ice-cold Glutiny. Spargo took a stock and then fell behind once again with an immediate falling up air to half waft by Gluto, putting him down an entire stock. Spargo has won these before though, being another one of Ultimate's most clutch players, but with everything that was on the line for Glutiny, he wasn't going to let this one go. Glutiny immediately pinned Spargo in the corner and eventually found the F-tilt to seal out the set, winning the run back against Spargo and now matched into his final opponent in this path of destruction, Tweak. This matchup has the richest history of probably any other at the whole event.
And after the butt cheeks.
Why? Oh my god! Roadkill!
Nope, going to grab the banana and dead
Huge. Tweak, he's just
banana, there we go.
Oh, what?
And using the bike aggressively just to cover
Nice, dude.
for the approach.
Dude.
Yo, banana is going to be fatal here for the American
Oh
player.
my god, he ran tilt. Down tilt again. Grab them from
And
Gluto,
the back
so
in
good.
effects, I guess.
Oh! Fight left in him. But I don't know if it really matters.
Be there.
Neutral air to the ledge. Dangerous for Gluto. Oh, that's it right there. See?
First matching off in early 2019 at Genesis 6, these two equanimous powerhouses of the scene had played a total of 12 sets prior to this event, with an even 6-6 split. This was truly a head-to-head that could have gone either way. Maybe it was the matchup, the momentum from losers, or the fact that we're in the middle of the French dimension, but Glutiny was playing absolutely cracked. From 0 to deaths to making clutches in the biggest situations, Glutiny had it all for Tweak in this first set, dragging Tweak down into an even losers bracket with him for the final possible set of the event.
Au revoir, très zéro, okay? As they say, so incredible to see from Gluto. I want to see Tweak retaliate though.
An immediate 0 to death from Glutiny would have set the pace for the game in the previous set, but Tweak seemed to be recomposed at this point. He whittled Glutiny down and took the next 3 stocks uncontested. While Tweak had started with the lead again in the following game, Glutiny ended up being the one making a comeback this time around. He caught Tweak slipping with a missed tech on an edge guard, and it would have seemed that Glutiny had gotten to Tweak once again. Tweak didn't really look like he was agreeing with a lot of what was going on as he died early again and again and again. Even after losing a stock early to a WAF confirm, Tweak remained diligent and immediately upon taking Gluto's second stock began a state of absolutely oppressive advantage. This game had ended with a statement from Tweak, and he also found the first kill of Game 3 and was now able to move a lot more comfortably around Gluto to begin extending his already impressive lead. Glutiny was fighting with everything on his sleeve. He had already beaten Bloom, Light, Spargo, and reset the bracket against Tweak, but down a whole stock in the reset, maybe his time had finally come. But you know what they say, you should never disrespect a king in his castle or a Frenchman in his dimension. Glutiny looked like the game was far out of his favor, Tweak was playing so precise and the victory was within his reach, but with a single sequence, a single read, and a single waft, Glutiny closed out the game over the international invader and, once again, was able to single-handedly defend Europe from the world, solidifying his case as one of, if not the greatest European Smash player of all time.
Oh, fair, just to... Oh, Gluto, though. He still
Gluto,
has
good something. You have the warp there to use it.
He banked it off the bike. Ridiculous. Bike out. Banana out. Getting dizzy right now.
Everything. The kitchen is out. Up throw to up. Up air. Now he's going to cover any wall. Just even here. There's the option of Tweak. He wants to get the warp.
The positioning is so good from Gluto. The bike. Wow. That's going to do it. Glutiny. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
With Tera. With a son of banana. Into warp. This is the win of Glutiny.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Glutiny defends the French stuff against Tweak and gets the win after the S+.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Thank you to our top tier patrons and YouTube members Evishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Eric is Cool, Juniper, NNG Esports, Storm, and Tingly Jungle for supporting the channel. Please let me know what you think of this kind of content. I'd love to keep doing it, and you can go watch this now. Alright, see ya.